Okay, so you can see little Eckert there looking cool as always. And he's wearing some 1984 vintage Jordans. I think those were the first ever Air Jordans to come out. And he's going to be helping us with our lesson. So he is saying your objective. Your objective says, today I will be able to solve equations involving absolute value. And we will define absolute value a little bit later on. So let's get started here. So, because I'm a math guy and because I love teaching so much, I moved my family to a new house, and the name of our street is Number Lane. And as you can see right here, my house is on 0 Number Lane. And the neighbors to the right side of me from where you're looking, so these neighbors over here, those neighbors' addresses are 1 Number Lane, 2 Number Lane, 3 Number Lane, and so on. And then the neighbors to the left of my house from where you're looking, this guy's address is -1 Number Lane, -2 Number Lane, -3, -4, -5 Number Lane. And the street that we live on is a really big street. Okay, so each house is exactly 1 mile apart from the houses next to it, and I only labeled 2 of those. Okay, so you can see right here that's a mile apart, and then you can see over here that's a mile apart, but it's the same everywhere else. These 2 are a mile apart, these 2 are a mile apart, and even my house and this house are a mile apart. Everything's a mile apart. Now, as you guys know, I mean, I'm a super athlete, and I still like to be healthy, even though I don't play sports very much anymore. So I like to go jogging, and my neighbors are pretty cool. So when I go jogging when I go on a jog, sometimes I'll go to their house and I'll just relax and get a lemonade or something. So I'm about to go on a jog, and my question for you is, if I jog from my house to 3 Number Lane, how far did I jog? So here comes Eckert, and he's getting ready. And he starts his jog. You know, and I like to jog with my iPod on, so I've probably got some Black Eyed Peas or something like, "Can you meet me halfway?" Or maybe some Justin Bieber. "Baby, baby." Oh, never mind. So I passed 1 Number Lane. Still going on my jog here. And here I go. I'm finishing up. And stop. So my jog finishes at 3 Number Lane, and my question to you is, how far did I just jog? Okay, so if you said 3 miles, you are absolutely right. And as you can see right here, that from Eckert's house to 3 Number Lane is exactly 3 miles. Great job. And you might be thinking, wait a minute, Eckert, this really can't be math. This is just too easy. So here we go. The next day I go on another jog, and see, I'm a super athlete, so I can jog 2 days in a row. But instead of jogging to the right, this time I decided to jog to the left, and but I'm going to jog down to my neighbor's house at -3 Number Lane. So here I go. You're only gonna break your heart. You're only... Well, that was the song that was just on in the car when my wife and I went to dinner. So I jogged past -1 Number Lane. You're only gonna... Okay, I'll stop singing. And I'm almost there, almost ready for the lemonade. And I stop. So the question is, of course, how far have I jogged? And here we go. Brilliant. Brilliant. 3 miles. And if you can understand that, then you will absolutely understand absolute value. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Mr. Eckert jogs this way or jogs this way. 3 miles is exactly the same. And whether I end up at 3 Number Lane, I jogged 3 miles. And if I start here and I end up at -3 Number Lane, I've jogged 3 miles. And if you can understand that, you will absolutely understand absolute value. So, like I told you earlier, absolute value is super easy. Um, Absolute value simply means the distance from Eckert's house. And if we were to put that into math terms, we would just say the distance from 0, because that's where my house is at. And I want you to see, we use those 2 bars to represent absolute value. So here's what this math sentence says. The math sentence right now says the absolute value of x is 4. But what we are really saying is the distance from Eckert's house is 4. So as we move on to the next page, you're going to see this sentence again. The distance from Eckert's house. The distance from Eckert's house is 4. Well, let's take a look at which houses are 4 away from me. This one is 4 away from me, because we know that if I go to that house, I've jogged 4 miles. 4 miles. But I could also jog 4 miles this way. So by definition, this house is also 4 miles from me. So how would we answer that? Well, if there's 2 houses that are 4 away from me, we would say x equals 4 and negative 4. And you might just see it written like this. X equals 4, negative 4, or x equals 4 and negative 4, without the comma up here. So when you see an absolute value sentence like this, the absolute value of x equals 4, just think, if Eckert were to run that far from his house, where would he end up? Well, he would either end up at negative 4 number lane, or he would end up at positive 4 number lane. That's all absolute value is.